Okay, let's build a PC. So these are the parts that we're going to be using. Some high-end parts here. Should be quite a nice mid-range PC. And that's what we're going to have looking like. Some RGB, make it look nice. So first we'll lay down the motherboard, and then we'll put the CPU in. That's the one we're using, 1700 socket, or socket 1700. And when you put it in there, pay attention to these little tabs. Them tabs have got to correspond to the CPU socket that's on the motherboard, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll just put this down. Pop that off. And there you've got two more little indents which correspond with them. So when you put it in there, line them up. Make sure it's in there nice and snug. And that plastic will pop off when you push the arm down. Like that. There you go. And next we'll do the RAM. It's dual RAM. If you look at most motherboards, they will have this symbol, so you know if you're only using two where to put them. So for me it's the second one down and the last one. So that's 32 gigabyte, 16 each. Just plop them in, push them down so it clicks, click, and that's your RAM in. Now moving on to the SSD. Now this is fast SSD, Gen 4, as it's going into the first slot, which is linked straight directly to the CPU, whereas the other ones go via the chipset. And this is my second one, and that's going to be for holding my games, 2 terabyte. So the faster one, which is directly connected to the CPU, which is where the operating system should go, it goes in at an angle, so when you put it in there it slots down. Same with this one. Then put the heat sinks back on, tighten them down, job's a good one. So we've got the CPU, we've got the RAM in, we've just put the SSD cards in. Now we can look at these very carefully, because this is your best chance to do it now before we put it into the case. Look to see where all your powers and LEDs for your case go. So they will come through there or through here, wherever it locates proper for your motherboard, for them wires to come through and to go onto what connector. Okay, then line up the back plate with that so you know which orientation it's going to go in. Plump it up straight in there. There we are, all screwed in. Make sure that it's all done all the way around, and now we go on to the power supply unit, the PSU, and make sure you've got the right orientation. Even if it looks upside down, which that does, it's still going to be going in that way, because that's where the air will be coming in from and out from for the case. It'll be sucking it in from the bottom and blowing it out the back. Now so just line it up when you've got it all lined up like that. There you go, just put the 4 screws in that hold that 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we need to do the leads that go to the motherboard for the for the case, sorry. So these are the USB ports on the case, and these are the LEDs and the power and reset, and all those buttons that you get on the case. And then we've got the main leads that go to the power supply unit at the back, and they've all got them on there. Look, so this is CPU, so you can see it, yep, CPU, and mine has 2 of them, so and I've got 2 leads for it, so they will go straight into there, and it says it on the back of the power supply unit as well. This PCI Express, so that'll be for the VGA card, which we'll come to a bit later. So there you go, look, we've got that on, we've got that on, we've got all the rest of it on, the power supply units in, and all the cables are now hooked in the back. So Now we want to be doing the CPU. Now on the diagram here I'm using socket 1700, so I've got it laid out for 1700, but there is also parts of it for 1200 I believe, so depending on what socket you was using you would go for that, but for me it's 1700. So I've put it on the back there now, and it just screws straight in from the front. Look, and they are a little bit loose, they don't actually go tight, and they're not supposed to either, they're supposed to have to play, so it's all even once it goes on. And here's the coolant for it. This is what I'll be using. It's a liquid cooler, small radiator, 2 fans which I'll put on now. Here's the fans all put on, and it's got a nice small block as well there, which I will leave that on for now until I'm ready to take it off. And now the paste has been put on, and so is the block, all done. So the CPU now is getting cooled by the liquid cooler, and make sure you take that plastic bit off the bottom of that block. Now we can get on with the VGA card. GTX goes straight into that one there with the metal surround. There's 2 of them, see, one's got the metal around it. Now it's put in there, so easy, just plonk them straight in. It's not a very heavy card, that one. And now the wiring at the back, you need to tidy that up and then put the case over it. All the fans are wired into that now. And then don't forget to put your filter on the top, if you've got a case similar to mine with filters. That's that done. And now little dongle there, so I can use my keyboard to power it up and then push F8 to go into the BIOS, and make sure you plug it into the graphics card that we just put in, not the one that's on board. Right, there, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Now keep pushing F8. Get into the BIOS, there you go. And the memory is set to default 2133, top left. But for now, just do your BIOS boot order and get your USB as first, and then repower it so it boots to your USB, which you can find a link in the description how to do that if you haven't already. And now we're going into Windows. Look, so that looks like quite a decent build, nice mid-range. There you go, Windows up and running. Yep, all good. Thumbs up. There it is. And we just put some games through it, make sure that it all works. Just as a quick test, because we still got to do the memory in the BIOS, because we're running at 3600 megahertz. So let's go and correct that RAM, and then we're better put in a better monitor. Right, here's the RAM settings now. Look, 3600 megahertz, which is what they should have been. You can do that in the BIOS under your RAM settings. All depends on what motherboards you've got to whether you do it the same way, but on this one it's just simple going to the motherboard settings, profile 1, it does all the settings for you. You can just pick what flavour. I've got 2 lots of 16, 32 megabyte, and now we're running at full speed, everything's up and running. Lovely graphics. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you build a computer in 2023, nearly 2024.